This is an Ielts speaking test simulation. Welcome. What's your name?
Andy Wheeler.
Hi Andy. Tell me about where do you live?
I live in Melbourne, Victoria. I live near the city in a place called Southbank, and I stay in an apartment.
Okay, great. And are you working or studying at the moment?
I'm studying at the moment. I'm studying teaching, primary school teaching
Oh,
at
great.
the moment.
All right, now we're going to start with part one of the simulation. So I'm going to discuss with you about health. How important is it to you to eat healthy food?
It's very important to me to eat healthy food, even if I don't always follow that. I always try to eat as healthy as I can, especially studying about how to teach young children. I've learned more and more how important nutrition is, so I try and incorporate a healthy diet into my lifestyle.
And if you catch a cold, what do you do to make yourself feel better?
Well, my grandmother always used to get me a lemon tea and some cough lollies, and that seems to do the trick. So.
Do you pay attention to the public information about health?
I do. I like to pay attention. It's just important to know what's going on. Recently there was a lot of smoke in the air in my area, and I'm asthmatic, so I always pay attention to those sorts of things so I know what precautions to take.
And what could you do to live a healthier lifestyle?
To consider what you eat, to consider where you go and what you do, to maintain hygiene, these sorts of things, to basically just take care of yourself. Yeah.
All right, now we're going to move on to part two of the simulation. I'm going to get you to describe an occasion when you had to wait a long time for someone or something to arrive. You should say who or what you were waiting for, how long you had to wait, why you had to wait a long time, and explain how you felt about waiting that time. You'll have to talk about the topic for 1 to 2 minutes. You'll have 1 minute to think about your answers, and you can take some notes if you need. Okay, great. Time's up. Thank you. Okay, please explain to me this occasion.
Well, it happened 2 years ago. I was fresh out of high school, and I was waiting to see if I got accepted into my university. My parents had gone to university, and they told me that you receive a big package in the mail. I was expecting to get it on one particular week, and that week passed, and I got quite nervous. So I began to really consider other career paths, but I'd always wanted to be a primary school teacher. But another week went past, and I became really doubtful, I became really doubtful that I was going to get accepted into this university. I had other options prepared to go to maybe smaller universities or community universities, but I was really determined to go to this particular university because it just specialized in helping children in unique ways, and that was really important to me. Another week went past, and I was getting really upset. I was quite hysterical. I was starting to have quite existential thoughts about, am I supposed to do this? Why haven't I been chosen? I had gotten good grades, I had done a lot of work in the community and whatnot, but I couldn't get there. I had a lot of support from friends and family, but the wait was quite excruciating. The fourth week came around, and once again, no package. So I'd given up. I'd looked into other career paths, working with children in the community, working at a library even was one of my options. I'd gone to the library a lot as a child, and it was really special to have librarians come up and help you read and whatnot, so I thought that would be similar to that. Funnily enough, it had been a month, and I get a text message, and it's from the desired university. And I had a big laugh. it was very humorous for me and my family because, as I said, they had been expecting a large parcel and all these letters and someone come to your house and shake your hand and all this quite formal stuff, or quite a formal occasion. I just simply got a text message. So it was a lot of tension and it was quite a humorous result in the end. But I was quite happy with it.
Oh, great. Thank you for that. All right, now we're going to move on to part 3 of the simulation. We're going to talk about arriving early. In what kinds of situations do you think that people should arrive early?
I think it's important to arrive early at formal events, things like weddings, formals, so on and so forth. It's important because a lot of these functions have a lot of money put into them, and I think it's important to arrive early because most of the time they're tightly scheduled and whatnot, so it's important to be early for that. I also think it's important to be early for anything business related or work related. It sets a standard for yourself that you're punctual, that you're on time, and it also shows the employers that this employee is very punctual and whatnot. Other than that, arriving early just shows respect to anyone else, even if it's just meeting at the local supermarket. It just shows respect to other people.
How important is it to arrive early in your country?
I think a lot of us say that it's important to arrive early, but in terms of actuality, it's not common for people to arrive early. A funny example is parties. If you throw a party, if you want it to be at 7, say it's at 6 because everybody's going to arrive early. It's considered to be uncool. So I think it's more of a thought than less of an action. But I think that also depends on the person's values. Some people do value punctuality, but for the most part, I haven't encountered it too much in social settings anyway.
How do you think modern technology can help people to arrive early?
Modern technology can help people arrive early in many ways. I think the first one is in all of our pockets, mobile phones. I often put on alarms and reminders to make sure that I'm at places at a particular time. When I'm going to a particular location, I'll use a GPS or my map in my phone, and it helps me find direction much better than a Melways or an old school kind of map. I think it's also important because if there is a change in time, if there's a change in time, you're able to communicate with people over text message or online messaging and whatnot. So it just allows for a lot more punctuality.
Okay, now I'd like to talk about patience. What kind of jobs require the most amount of patience?
I think there's different kinds of patience. I think in terms of emotional and mental patience, I think of people who work in hospitals or mental health clinics or in nursing homes or whatnot. I know people who work there, and it's quite a struggle to get people to do basic things to survive because they're mentally unwell, and it requires a lot of patience to help these people.
Do you think it's always better to be patient in work and studies?
Yes, I think it's important to be patient because it's unwise to make hasty decisions in a work environment or a study environment because everything is a journey. You're not going to get what you want straight away, or you're not going to get the desired results straight away. So patience is important in order to get through maybe moments where you're feeling unsatisfied or you're going through a bit of a lull period or a period of inactivity or something like that. So it's very important to be patient.
Do you agree or disagree that the older the person is, the more patient they are?
I disagree with that. Most older people that I encounter tend to be more impatient, and not in a disrespectful manner, just maybe they have less time on their hands, or I've had quite a few like grandparents and aunties when I tell me that they spent my age waiting, and so they're not going to wait for too many things anymore, which I respect. But I have encountered a lot of patient older people as well, but I think the majority states that I think they're slightly more impatient.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for your time. That ends our simulation.
Thank you.